Hi, it's Chloe, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Hanging out with a new artist that I've been kind of excited about.
Thank you.
Chloe, how are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I mentioned earlier, like I first heard about you through DIMAC. You did some collaborations with two other artists, I believe, Max Styler being one of them, right? Yeah. So, tell me, your first experience with like co-writing and working in the EDM world. Like, what was that like for you?
I think for me, like doing any type of writing is a different experience. Like I don't do, obviously myself, I'm not in the, that EDM world, but to be top lining and to be doing all different types of music, it was really fun for me to jump into another style because I never usually go there. So that was super fun. And I remember, how long ago was it? Probably like a year ago. Max got me up. He went on tour with Steve Aoki, and we played like this huge show, and it was like such a rave. And I'm not a raver. So that was fun. But it was a good experience, but definitely quite foreign to me.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like, at least for me, like I discover a lot of music either through Spotify or through new like producers, EDM artists like that, because they always, I don't know, they have this thing where they just find that next voice, and like that, that's what kind of happened with you.
I've definitely heard a lot of artists on features and like, who's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So as you move forward from collaborations like that to doing your own music, like what was that transition period like for you?
Well, I started off doing my own music. That was just a path in the road for me. But I've grown up writing my own music since I was 15, writing all different genres, doing folk and urban, and like I've just kind of experimented in every genre, and then found my way back to this world of dark pop that I'm sitting really, really happy and content in. So yeah, I've been writing forever. I think I obviously love doing, my own songs the most, because a lot of my project is quite internal and it's quite complex and raw. So getting to sing them is really personal. Right. Yeah, so that's where I love being the most.
Did dabbling in like that kind of like dabbling in so many different genres, like did that kind of help you in getting more personal with your music? Especially, did you mention like country a little bit or folk? Yeah. I feel like those are the ones that open up most to the world. I mean, my favorite artists are Joni Mitchell, Eva Cassidy, Stevie Nicks. So definitely lyrically, melodically, I still pull a lot from them. Yeah. And so they definitely really helped. Country definitely helps because it's really pop. It's really pop. So I think drawing from little bits but then adding my darker twist to the production gives it its edge. Right. Yeah. So what is it about that dark pop that really like drew your attention, and like why you pursue it?
I think because I'm quite complex and a lot of my thoughts and lyrics are quite deep, and the surface level pop just didn't fulfill me in that way that I want to in music. And so by adding like darker synths and crunchy like bass, it makes the lyrics and content drive home. Like it really makes it hit instead of just like kind of just like float along. So yeah, that kind of, and it just makes me like, it's fun. Yeah. It's fun to kind of jump out of me for a moment and into CXLOE and to kind of just like be a bit weird and be dark.
You recently released your latest single, Show You. Yeah. You worked with Max and Sam Ferrara on this one. Like, what was that vibe like for them? And for those that don't know, Sam is also from Maroon 5.
Yes, yeah, Sam is in Maroon 5. So my first session with Sam, we wrote it, and it was like a cold session. We'd never met each other before, and I came in, and I think he'd heard my first single, which is Tough Love, which is quite dark. Right. And so he was like, I didn't really know what to expect from you, because myself as a writer and as a person is different to my artistry. It still is an extension of me, but it's definitely a lot more chill. Right. So yeah, and we just, him and I, we wrote Show You together, and we kind of, after about like 10 minutes we'd had it, so it was really weird, and I just was thinking, oh my gosh, like this is it. I've been wanting to get move more over into that pop land, and he definitely helped me get it there. I think also working Maroon 5, his pop sensibility is insane. Right. So my darker side and him coupled together was a good match. Right.
I mean, over the years you've collaborated with other writers. I think you did Monster was with Xavier Dunn from Australia as well, right? Yes, so like as you're dabbling with different producers and different writers, like how do you feel like they kind of like help you evolve like your lyrics?
I think more so they help evolve the sound. Like lyrics I think are always in me, and they're always like bubbling away. Right. But more so I think the evolve, like me, you know, growing as an artist, they help that like tenfold. Right. Because they're always bringing new sounds to the table. Like you can have like a set of chords and someone play something slightly off and your whole song and sound change. Right. And that kind of happened with me. I think I'd been writing for a long time, and then I worked with this one producer called Boy. He's from New Zealand. Very unassuming. He just came out with the hardest like beats and like these chords, and I was like, oh, okay, like this started to shape me in this trajectory. I was going in this trajectory. And so as I'm working with more and more producers, I'm finding that balance is really hard. It's really hard to get cohesion. So I think I'm starting to now find my key producers who I really love working with, instead of working with, you know, hundreds of them. Right. Because you waste a lot of, not waste a lot of time, but it's a very personal experience. So having to explain yourself and your project and how you feel is exhausting. So I think if you can find your key people, that it really helps the cohesion for the project.
Right. Yep. And what's that like for you? I've had artists that tell me like they prefer, you know, before they sit down with the writer or the producer, they prefer to sit down and have that conversation, what they want to write about, what they want to talk about. And there's others that just want to go in and start production there, don't want to make any like friendships or whatever, just start to work. How does it work for you?
I definitely have to have some sort of relationship there. Yeah. Again, my lyrics are quite deep and are living. They're everything I'm experiencing, and they're very real to me. So I think letting a stranger in and not developing some sort of relationship is it's quite scary, right. Especially if you've just met them. So I definitely like to develop some sort of, you know, relationship there with them, and then kind of be like, okay, these are all my problems. Yeah.
So in these last 3 singles that you've released, like, what do you feel has been like a common challenge that you've had in the studio?
Oh God, there's so many. There's so many of them. I think I'm always being challenged with what I want, what I think people want, what is current, what is not current. Right. So those are challenges that are you know, happening all the time. But with the 3 singles I've released, they've been the ones that have just happened. They're the ones that we've done, and I've been like, wow. The other hundreds and hundreds of songs that you don't hear, they're the challenges where it's like, I didn't get the lyrics right, I didn't get the melody right, it was too boring, I didn't get the chorus right in this, it didn't really lift enough, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. So there are so many challenges you face. Right. You know, some songs just don't have it. They're great songs, but they just don't have it. Yeah. No, yeah.
So with since you have these singles out, you know, what are the plans for these? Where do they fall in you know, the world of like an EP or like an album? Like, what are you working on right now?
Yeah, I'm writing so much new music right now, and I'm sitting on so much of it, which is, I mean, I think right now for me, I'm just like getting singles out. Just, I think it's in this day and age, it's everything's quite recyclable, and it's happening, and there's so much music. So for me, I'm just putting singles out right now, but we do, you know, I'm working on a body of work. Okay. And I have so many songs I just want to put out, but probably early next year, a body of work will be something I'm thinking of putting out. But for now, I've got singles that need to live. Right. Yeah.
Now today you're gonna do your first LA headline. Yeah. What can fans expect for a live show? Like, what is a Chloe live show like?
It's a show. It's theatrics. It's costumes. I mean, I wouldn't be dressed in a sack if I wasn't wearing one. It's costumes. It's a big band. It's like a whole experience. The music and the writing is as much for me as the aesthetics are. I really want to draw people into a world where for that 30 minutes they're like in it with me. Right. And then as soon as it finishes, they like snap out of it. So yeah, that's kind of what you can expect.
2019, you get to kickstart with a little run with Maroon 5 in Australia. Just a small little run. Big enough or small enough to, you know, blow things for you. But how did this come about? Was it because of the collaboration you did with Sam?
Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of, like, the biggest fan. Right. I've played Sunday morning at every pub and in Australia. Like, it's not even funny. But yeah, after meeting Sam, he kind of threw the idea. He was like, would you want to like support Maroon 5? And he was like, or is that too pop for you? And I was like, no. was like, yeah.
Let me think about it. Let me go home and figure it out.
Look, I'll see if I can fit it in. No, but then you hear a lot of that stuff all the time, especially a female in the industry. You're getting like, we'll do this for you and we'll do that for you. But Sam was very different, and I thought, I don't know. I feel like he actually means it. I feel like this person wouldn't just be like throwing this out there. Right. And then about 5 months after, he like brought it up again. Was like, so do you want to do it? I was like, yes, I still want to. Like, yeah. So then yeah, and then it was. I think until I'm on the stage, it'll hit me, because right now I'm just like, I don't think it's like, can't imagine it.
Now, lastly, like, when did you know it was time to let go of Dad's Pharmacy and come move to LA and just focus on music?
Oh God, the moment the day I started, I was like, this isn't right for me. But you have to do the hustle. You have to earn money. I worked there for about 8 years. Yeah, wow. My whole family's in pharmacy, and that's how I got my money to come over here. And I would spend about 3-4 months here, write my ass off, and then come home and do it all again and come back. So I've let it go now, which is, I went in the other day. It was so cute. He had all these posters up of the Maroon 5, where it's like,
the tour poster.
Yes, and it says CXLOE, and he's laminated them, which is the cutest thing out of it all. He's like laminated them, put them like all up. It's the cutest thing ever.
Each customer's gonna go home with like a little flyer.
They will. They will. I'm like, are you doing PR for the show? Yeah, so it's very sweet.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for hanging out with me. For those that are not familiar with you, why do you create music, CXLOE?
Because of the way that it makes me feel and the way that I make other people feel. I think everyone, I don't know, I'm quite, dark in my music, and I think that there isn't a lot of it, that I feel like a lot of it's quite surface, and I really just like getting into those darker complex concepts that other people feel but no one else is writing or addressing, and it's quite taboo to feel a certain way. So the way it makes me feel when I sing is like the best feeling in the world, and I think when other people hear my songs, I like that they can relate to it as well, the way I do.